Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I am here to start up a new review series for the summertime. I know it's not summer just yet. We have a couple more days, I think. Anyway, happy Memorial Day weekend. I hope you're having a great day. I want to thank the soldiers for how wonderful you are. And let me start off this. This is a 1983 beginning to a series that for me is mostly a positive series that I enjoy most of these movies, if I'm being honest with you. I have seen 3 out of the 5, and that series is Sleepaway Camp, a very controversial movie nowadays. Not so much back when it came out, but more nowadays. Sleepaway Camp I have right here. I also have the set that has 1, 2, 3, and the footage they shot for part 4. I think there was only like half an hour shot in total, but I have that. I plan on reviewing all of those in here, aside from part 1, which I'm doing right now. And then you have part 5, which was the original director of this movie I'm currently referring to as the original Sleepaway Camp, Return to Sleepaway Camp. He made this on his own budget, his own dime, I think. Anyway, Sleepaway Camp, the OG 1983 movie. Dude, this is a fantastic film. I love it. I think it is so freaking good. I have my complaints. I have little things about it that bother me, but not really anything too big. Maybe one thing, I don't know. But we'll get to that later on in the review. First and foremost, this is fantastic. I really like it a lot. I think for the budget they had at that time, once upon a time, they did incredible with it. They really did. I think they did a phenomenal job with the movie. Some parts of it are a little sloppy. And I think it's because sometimes it cheats and uses flashbacks, which kind of are supposed to be in a character's head, and it cheats with certain things like that. Some of the logic in the movie is a little bit of a cheat, you know? Certain things with certain characters, how they think of certain things, how they grow up around certain things, are a little bizarre, you know? A little weird and kind of in your face, and kind of like you can't skip over that logic. And that's really all I want to start off this review with before I talk about now the story. So, we have kind of a prologue to the film where there is a father and his 2 kids who happen to be on a very small boat out in a lake. And the kids pull a prank on him, they flip the boat. And a speedboat that's being controlled by a girl who kind of flirted her way into the driver's seat past the lifeguard that happened to be driving them around originally. She takes over, she's not paying attention because she doesn't see the boat that got flipped over, and she runs over the family with the speedboat and kills 2 of them, the father and one of the kids. The other kid is able to survive, just barely, and grows up, and this kid's name is Angela. Angela goes to live with Ricky, her cousin, the rest of her life, and then we skip to like 8 years later, and she's still traumatized to this day by what happened to her dad and her brother right in front of her. And it's pretty shocking. The overall film, not just the prologue, but the overall movie, I think is pretty shocking. We pick up with Ricky, played by Jonathan Tiersten, who I think is fantastic. I really, really like him here. Probably my favorite character in the entire film. He does a great performance, great casting for him. Felissa Rose, a great small indie actress who's beautiful nowadays. Dude, I can't believe what she looks like now. It kind of blew my mind when I found out about that. Felissa Rose is in this, if you know the name. She's one of those names like Danielle Harris. It's kind of like an indie horror typical house name that everybody knows that's into horror, pretty much. And Felissa Rose does a good job for what she has to do here playing Angela. Now they're going off to a camp that Ricky apparently has been going to for quite a few years now during the summer. I think it's like, what was it called? Camp Arawak. Arawak? Arawak? I don't know. They're going to camp, is what the whole point is. And while they're there, there's some pretty horrific people who work there. There's horrific people that go there as campers and counselors and all kinds of stuff like that. And murders begin to happen when people attack 2 particular people, which happen to be Ricky and Angela. And it seems like a lot of the time when people come after these 2, or even individually after just one and not the other, those people get murdered or brutalized. There are people working at this camp that should not be at this camp. There are dudes making comments amongst themselves, like 5 or 6 dudes that work in the kitchen at the camp, that are total pedophiles, that are saying things that they're going to do things to these kids. One of them, who doesn't really say anything but knows about it, which makes him a shitty person, is James Earl Jones' dad. Yes, Darth Vader's father is in this movie, and he's good. He's good for the few amount of scenes he's in. But how these guys in the kitchen could hear some of their comrades saying the shit that they say and not report it to the owner, who's on the grounds at all times, by the way, another good performance from that guy as well, is crazy to me, in total. But then not only that, you have counselors who are straight up bullies, and then you have some counselors that are very sweet, like this one guy who's a bodybuilder. He's humongous, dude. His muscles are huge. Great guy. Loved him a lot. Not the best performance, but a good guy in general that you just couldn't help but love. I think his name is Ron or something. Anyway, we follow mainly Ricky and Angela as they hang around at this camp for, like, I guess for a few weeks we follow them. Maybe a month. I don't know. Something like that. I think it's about 3 weeks, though. Now, the thing you're probably asking, if you haven't seen the film, is why am I covering this? Well, it's a classic. It's a classic for a reason. But let me say this. As good as it is, as weak as the writing can be, as bad as some of the acting, even like half of the acting can be, the ending is not super satisfying. You could not make Sleepaway Camp now. You could not make it now. They're trying to make a remake, but you could not do that without trying to make the killer a person that you relate to. And I think that's fucking ridiculous, frankly, because of the type of subject matter we're talking about with a slasher movie. You couldn't make this movie now, because of the political angles that people would follow nowadays that were not in this movie once upon a time. It would be something that everyone would be offended about, no one would be happy with. But this original film is very daring. It's very ballsy about some of the things that it goes into. And I think it's fantastic for that, for what it does with that. It is not trying to be controversial, it wants to be shocking, and I think it really, really pulls that off in a great way. Again, though, the ending has a great reveal that makes this movie, for me, it makes it a classic, and I went into it knowing about the ending, that I will not spoil for you, because of a little thing that used to come on TV called Bravo, it was Bravo Channel's, Top 100 Scariest Movie Moments. And it scared the shit out of me. I went into this movie when I had a back injury in 2018. I was laying in bed. I rented it on my Kindle and I watched it because I had remembered hearing about it on that show back like 10 years before then, like in 2007 or 8. And I watched this movie and absolutely loved every minute of it, even though I knew the biggest thing that it had in it was the plot twist at the very end of the movie. And it's a great twist. It's fantastic. The reveal is horrifically scary. Still gives me chills. It gave me chills a few minutes ago when I finished watching the film. It scared me again. It's something about that is so horrifically unnerving in the execution they went about it. Again, I'm not going to spoil it for you in case you haven't seen it, but it's great. Now, the actual ending, though. Like, if you're really thinking about it in context, you really don't have a satisfying conclusion to this movie. It just kind of ends in the middle of something really important, which a lot of movies would not have done that. I don't know if they ran out of money or what, but I think that ending was interesting because most slasher films had an ending where the villain would, be in a fight or be killed or kill the last person and survive, something like that. Once upon a time is what we typically did. Especially in 1983, after the Halloween boom of slashers, By this time, when 1983 rolled around and Sleepaway Camp came out, we had had a bunch of movies already. Friday the 13th was already a big series. Halloween had already had a couple of entries. This was an interesting time. And the choices that this film makes are fascinating to me. I think it just makes this movie so much better. And another thing, too, I think it's well shot for the kind of movie it is and when it came out. It's well shot, it's enjoyable to watch, it's fun to watch. The characters like Ricky make it fun to watch. The awful characters, like this one snobby chick named Judy. Judy is horrible. The actress is good, putting a good performance out there as much as she can with the writing she was given. But she's awful, and you can't help but hate her guts because of how awful of a person she is. There's a counselor in here named Meg, who is just an awful person too. Good performance, bad person. Really interesting stuff. I love all of it, man. It has so much it wants to do, and I just love it for that. Sleepaway Camp accomplishes so much, but it's a messy movie. It's not like I should be talking about it the way I am. It's not a masterpiece like Halloween. It's not a masterpiece like Halloween 3. It's nothing like that. It's nothing quality-wise to something like that. It's just incredibly powerful for what it is and when it came out. It's a good movie. And I can't believe that people don't talk about it more. Again, it's kind of coming around more where people are coming to it now, but it's also getting the controversial angle from the idiots at Twitter that are throwing a fit over this shit because they can't handle a 1983 film existing before they existed. It's crazy to me. But anyway, the movie is great. One of the biggest things I have to compliment about are the kills. The kills, the makeup, the effects for the practical effects, all of them look really, really great. They really do, and they look even better on Blu-ray for the most part. Some things in this film are kind of ruined on Blu-ray, let me tell you that much. If you're not watching it on like a VHS tape or in theaters on film, some of it's kind of ruined. But let me tell you this, it looks really good on Blu-ray, in my opinion. But the effects are incredible. I love them. I think the kills are fantastic. Some of the best any franchise has ever had. And by this time, I would say, with having like the first 3 Friday the 13ths around this time, I think the kills are better in this movie than any of the first 3 Friday the 13ths. I don't think Friday the 13th even came close to being as good until Part 4. That's my personal opinion. It's a very hot take, but that's what I feel like. This is a great movie. I can't believe they didn't play this on TV when I was a kid. They played Friday the 13th over and over again. But I never saw Sleepaway Camp until I became very old. Again, I was like, it was 2018. It was like 5 years ago. So I was probably like closer to like 23, 24. About 23. 23, yeah. Anyway, great flick. Really love it, really enjoy it. One of my other favorite characteristics of this movie, too, is the music. The music is fantastic. They really only have kind of background noise and like songs on the radio and the kind of background type of thing behind people talking and doing funny things. But then there's one particular song that is the end credits song as well, and it's kind of placed here and there throughout the movie, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's majestic. It's kind of magical, if you will. It's just so... Excuse me, I have a hiccup. It's just so fitting for what this movie wants to do. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it is so good, and it just feels right for this movie, I guess, is what I want to say. Sleepaway Camp is fantastic. It is a little messy. I think it needs a better ending, like a more solid, really confrontational ending. It doesn't have that. It just kind of ends, like I said. But everything else in it, I love. I think it's really good. Even the kind of goofy actors and actresses here and there can make it fun and make it memorable. You remember certain things like Ricky's mom and how over-the-top her performance is, and it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild how bizarre that performance is, but it fits this movie with how strange and dreamlike it is. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about Sleepaway Camp, but I personally love it. I think it's a great flick. I love it so much, and I think it's kind of eerie. It's kind of this sweet childhood teen getaway story. It reminds me when I read Goosebumps camping stories for the summertime. That getting away from your parents thing, hanging around with your friends most of the summer, the adventures you get into that you'll never forget. It has that feeling to it, but these are nightmarish because of all the murders and the pedophiles on the camping grounds and shit. Anyway, Sleepaway Camp. Have you watched it? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear what you have to say about it down in the comment section down below. If I had to rate Sleepaway Camp on a 5-star basis, I think I would give this probably a 4 out of 5 stars. It has flaws, for sure, and I want to give it a 5. But I can't, because it's pretty harshly flawed in some areas. But 4 out of 5 stars I think is more than enough that I think I should even tack on an asterisk, if you will, saying it's closer to a 5, if anything, because of how good and enjoyable it is. Probably my favorite of the series, of what I've seen of the series. I love it so much, cannot wait to see the bonus features before I go on to Sleepaway Camp 2 for reviews. But anyway, have you seen it? I recommend it highly to you, no matter who you are. If you're into horror, specifically slashers, you cannot tell me you did not enjoy this movie at all. It is so fun. I love it so much. Great summertime watch, just like I said, with Goosebumps books and Goosebumps TV episodes. There are certain things from Goosebumps that are summertime themed that are like a yearly thing for me, like Night of the Living Dummy 3. Night of the Living Dummy 3 for me is incredibly rewatchable and incredibly summer-focused. Everything from people mowing the lawn to drinking lemonade in the episode, the house, the area they live in, all of that stuff. That's the same way I feel about Sleepaway Camp. It's just an absolute icon and legend of horror, and it's pretty much timeless to me. You can't remake this movie. And I think the fact that they're trying to is a horrible idea. It's a horrible, horrible idea. Anyway, have you seen it? What do you think? Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Hopefully you'll tune in for the upcoming reviews for part 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you guys. God bless you all, and goodbye.